Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory is a magical and unique action rhythm game. I will be reviewing the game based off of the Nintendo Switch version. That being said, I will go easier on the graphics because I chose to play it on the most limited system. Melody of Memory is the most recent spin off sequel in the Kingdom Hearts franchise. Taking place after the events of Kingdom Hearts 3, Kairi must sleep so she can dive into her memories to try and figure out where Sora is. She can do this because their hearts and destiny are connected. Melody of Memory is a straightforward game. Notes come down a railed track in the form of enemies or obstacles. The player must press the correct button inputs in rhythm with the song in order to defeat the enemy or avoid the obstacle coming down the path. If the player misses the input or presses a button too early or too late, then they lose health. If the player loses all their health, then they fail the song and have to try again. There are 3 levels of difficulty: beginner, standard, and proud. The amount of enemies and the speed in which they are moving is determined based on these difficulties. For anyone who is disabled or has difficulties pressing multiple buttons at once, you can choose the one button mode. This option will still allow you to choose between beginner, standard, and proud difficulties. If you think the hardest difficulty is too easy, you can choose another option called performer mode, where the game tells you the exact button you have to press in order to complete the song. What I mean by this is you have 3 button options to attack one enemy. For the Switch, it's A, L, and or R. If you press any of these buttons at the correct time, you're as good as gold. Unlike games like Rock Band or Guitar Hero, extra inputs don't hurt you in the game unless you choose the performer mode. For example, several times throughout my playthrough, when I had to hit 2 enemies at once, I would accidentally press down 3 buttons, and the game did not penalize me for it. My tip when playing Melody of Memory is to strictly focus on the target, telling you when to attack an enemy. It sounds obvious, but different enemies from different worlds appear and move differently on screen than others, so watch out. For most of the game, you'll be playing World Tour, a story mode with only about a half an hour of actual new story. The player must travel to different worlds categorized by all the different Kingdom Hearts games. Completing levels unlocks the tracks you played for track selection, which is basically a quick play mode you can go into and select what song you want to play. In addition, you can get collectibles that do absolutely nothing, but are interesting to look at, and items make a return as well. Potions, experience boost, it all makes a return, and honestly, they don't do much. I personally believe they added these features just to pad out the game and make it seem more like an RPG. Yeah, the items can prevent you from getting a game over, but that's about it. During my first playthrough, I barely equipped anything and got through the game on standard just fine. Bonus tracks outside of the story can be unlocked as well, along with teams. The 3 different teams are Team Classic, which has Sora, Donald, and Goofy; Team Days, who has Roxas, Axel, and Xion; Team 3D has Riku and 2 Dream Eaters; and Team BBS has Aqua, Ventus, and Terra. Teams do absolutely nothing except change minor cosmetics of the game. The main menu and loading screens change based on which team you choose, along with some minor ability changes while pressing X on the Switch. I personally like the teams. They remind me of the greatest game of all time, Sonic Heroes, but I wish there was more to them. First, I wish we could make our own custom teams. I'd be running on Aqua, Riku, and Axel team all day long. Second, I wish that there were more teams to choose from. Like, why isn't there a team where you play as Kairi? It's her game after all. Thirdly, unlocking the teams is super easy. All you have to do is progress through the story, and right after unlocking Team 3D, you unlock BBS right away. Lastly, about the teams is just a nitpick. The names are dumb. I mean, come on. Dream Team and Team Wayfinder are way better than Team 3D and BBS. During World Tour, you can complete missions within the songs you play. More missions completed means more stars, and more stars open up gateways to continue on the game. Rinse and repeat. The issues are some missions say complete this certain thing on beginner, and if you do complete that thing but you're on a higher difficulty, it does not count. Come on. There was one case where I beat the first BBS and 3DS world on Proud, but because it was Proud, I only completed like 1 mission for each, but I needed 4 mission stars completed to continue on, so I painstakingly had to go back and play the songs on a lower difficulty. For the most part, this feature seems balanced, besides not letting us complete the same mission on higher difficulties. Boss battles are a complete clusterfuck. As notes come down the screen, the team you are playing is fighting a boss. This is cool in theory and breaks up some of the monotony, but there's a lot going on in the background, and it is kind of hard to see all the notes coming down the track. Besides boss battles shaking up the gameplay, Memory Dive songs do the same thing. They really confused me at the beginning because the playstyle gets switched up abruptly, but then I got the hang of it. After completing some worlds, you will reveal a cutscene, and until the end of the game, the cutscenes are just recaps of the other previous Kingdom Hearts games narrated by Kairi. To be fair, they did a great job taking the entire lore of Kingdom Hearts and chopping it up into digestible bites, but after a while, especially if you already played all the Kingdom Hearts games, it gets a little monotonous. The new story all happens literally at the very end of the game, the final world. It's one of those things where you can really just search it on YouTube and avoid buying the game if you don't like rhythm games. As far as other content besides World Tour, there really isn't any. Versus Mode allows you to compete with people online, locally, or with CPUs, but nobody seems to be playing on the Switch. I did enjoy kicking some CPU butt and customizing my profile, but that's about it. Co-op is a thing where you and a friend can play local split screen. It's basically one button mode, but with 2 players. Player 1 takes care of the enemies on the left side, and player 2 takes care of the enemies on the right side. My brother and I spent a good hour or so grinding through all the songs, and that was it. We had fun killing time, but there was nothing crazy about co-op mode, and the only thing we unlocked was more songs that I already unlocked during World Tour. They were just optimized for 2-player split screen. There is so much more I could go into, but I'd rather just leave it here. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory was a fun experience. However, I do not believe it was worth the $60. There's not enough bonus content for the player. The story is barely a story, and for the Kingdom Hearts 3 worlds, they just completely robbed us of quality content. I mean, come on. They took the field music of Kingdom Hearts 3 and pasted it on top of Kingdom Hearts 3 cutscenes. Cutscenes! It's lazy and completely took me out of the experience. If you are a Kingdom Hearts and rhythm game fan, I'd give this game a B-. If you are not a Kingdom Hearts fan but you like rhythm games, then I'd give this game a C+. If you are not a Kingdom Hearts fan or a rhythm game fan, then why the hell are you considering Melody of Memory? Alright, so that about does it for my Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory review. Have you played it yet? Like the video and comment below on what your opinion on the game is. Did this review get you to want to play the game or deter you completely from playing it? Let me know that as well. I'm Mosi Disaster and I hope you subscribe. See ya!